Now, the title of the video is a bit aggressive, but let me put things into perspective, right? So all of us are going to start a detailing business because we enjoy detailing, because it's a passion, it's an interest, it was a hobby. We want to start a side gig, what have you, right? But what happens very quickly is that we fall into this mindset of like, we do all the detailing, we're doing all the work, and we consider ourselves a business owner because obviously, we started a business. Now, the kind of shift or the perspective I want to come from is that you want to run your business as if you were an employee and you had a boss. And the reason why I say it in that manner is because it changes how you run everything. It changes how you quote, how you price, how you deliver the service. Because if you were an employee at, let's say, at this company that it's your business, would you allow, or would another business owner allow that to happen to an employee? Meaning, for instance, like the biggest one I always see is like, let's say you're booked out. Like you're booked out, you're busy. Let's say you're booked out 2 weeks in advance, and you're working long days, 10-hour, 12-hour days, right? Now, as a detailer running a business, you're thinking, oh man, things are going so good. I'm so booked out. Oh man, I need some extra help, right? Now, if you are on that same tone, you're saying, man, but like my revenue isn't growing, or like, man, but like I work so much and I work so hard, but I don't seem to have money at the end of the month or at the end of the week or at the end of all this work, right? Well, then if you wanted to hire someone else, you don't have the revenue, the margin to afford that. So if you were an employee of this company and you wanted to get paid, let's say $20 an hour to do the work that you're doing, could the company afford you and the amount of work that you're putting in? Because as the business owner, you're going to say, oh, I mean, I'm putting in these long hours and I'm the business owner and I'm going to manage everything and I'm going to do everything and this, and this, that, right? Now, the reality is most of the time when you're doing everything by yourself, you're probably underpaying yourself because you're saying, oh, well, I'm the business owner and I'm doing all these things and I'm growing, right? The issue becomes when you have that mindset for too long and then you want to go, let's say, hire someone because like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm so booked out and all this, all that. A lot of times that I see, you don't have enough money, enough margin, right, in your numbers to actually go afford someone else, which is why you're stuck doing what you're doing and you feel like you're always running a tight ship with the money because there's no margin in your numbers. So let's say, take the amount of hours that you're working right now, right? Let's say you're working just a normal 40 hours a week, right? Let's just say it's 160 hours per month. And you wanted to pay yourself $20 an hour. Right? Like consistent, like every month, that's what you get paid, right? It's really hard to do math live. So that's going to be $3,200 a month without considering overtime or let's say you're actually working, 60 hours a week, but let's keep it at 40. Again, and I'm just giving you one small example, but right now, if you're a solo detailer, could you pay yourself right now, month after month, $3,200 a month in payroll? Because if you're saying no right now, it only becomes more difficult if you wanted to hire someone. Because as the business owner, you'll say, oh, well, I'll take the pay cut, or I'll take less money, or hey, I don't have to pay myself right now, or hey, yeah, you take most of the money because we're trying to grow right now. Which at phases of the business, that will be true. Like you're trying to get more than what you're trying to put out. And, you'd rather not pay yourself because maybe, if you have a side job, absolutely fine. If you have, this is just your like part-time income, apps, like that makes total sense. But again, there's that fine line between you're doing something intentionally because you want to grow and you understand what you're doing. And then there's the other side where you're simply like going on a whim. You don't understand the numbers. You don't see why things are the way they are. And you're just kind of hoping that something works out. And when we're in that mindset, we're not, we like to think like, oh, I'm a business owner and I'm a CEO, right? If you were an employee at another business doing the same thing, you probably wouldn't work there. With the amount of hours that you're working, with how long they are, Again, if you, let's say you wanted to pay yourself $25 an hour, could you afford yourself? You know, again, I'm just making up some random numbers that way because everyone's going to be different here. Because this really doesn't matter if you're making $5,000 a month or like $15,000 a month. It's the same concept at whichever level that you're thinking at. If you have the mindset, hey, I'm the business owner, then you do things so much differently because you're like, oh no, well, I'll take the cut. I don't need to do this, and I can handle that all by myself. But if you're working at a company, you probably wouldn't want that to be. You wouldn't want it to be that way. You wouldn't say, hey, I don't want to work at this company if I'm given all the responsibility, I'm not getting paid, I'm working these long hours. You wouldn't do that. So the reason why I say it's better to think of yourself as an employee in your own company is because you really start to think of yourself as an actual business of how to actually run something, right? Again, it could literally be of any, like for instance, I'll give you an example here, right? If you, and actually this is going to be applicable to literally anyone for anything, right? Whether you're a solo detailer or you have a team. You always want to shoot for when you're paying someone. Again, that's why I say even if it's just yourself, it's going to be the same thing, okay? You want your, like what you're paying yourself, let's say what you're paying yourself or a team member, you want it to be 25% or less of what you're charging to the customer, right? So if you want to pay, let's say as a solo detailer, you're running things by yourself. If you want to pay yourself $25 an hour, right? Then what you charge to the customer can be no less than $100 an hour. So if you have a job that's going to take you 6 hours, that job, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's an interior detail or a maintenance detail or paint correction, if it's going to take you 6 hours, you have to charge $600 because that's the only way you'll be profitable if you want to pay yourself $25 an hour. Because the issue is, as the business owner, right? You're booking these jobs, you'll take these jobs on, you'll be making money, quote unquote. But if you look at your actual numbers between what you would like to pay yourself, what would you actually pay someone to do your position? 8 out of 10 times from what I've seen, the numbers don't make sense. And that's the reason why you get so stuck in a financial position is because you don't look at it that way. You look at it as, oh, I'm the business owner and I'm doing all these things because I'm trying to grow. Whereas if you looked at yourself as an employee, right, you would say, hey, if I wanted to pay myself as an employee these wages, I have to hit these numbers. And anything less than that, it's simply not going to work. Like if your labor is 40%, 50% of your revenue, again, whether it's a one-man bet, like whether you're a solo detailer, whether you have one helper, whether you have a team of 3, if 50, 60% of your labor goes to revenue, you're not going to make any money. Your margins are going to be razor thin, let alone you're spending, $1,000 a month on Google ads. Like things just get thinner and thinner in terms of your margin and makes things very difficult, right? But then look at other things, right? Look at the work hours. Like, hey, I come in at, I start the day at 7 and I end the day at 7, right? Most people don't want to work that kind of schedule, right? And again, like you have to look at it and say, okay, if I wanted to hire someone, right? You're a solo detailer as a business owner and you're going to hire someone. Would they want to work 7 to 7, right? Would they want to put that much work in? They would not. They would not want to put that much work in, right? And then you go to pay, right? I thought, well, if I'm going to have someone that's going to do all this and maybe even drive the truck and maybe do paint correction, ceramic coating, like, can I pay them $12 an hour? Most likely not. If that's all you can afford, well, then again, it goes back to like, what are you doing wrong in your business, right? Like you have to look at things, again, it's just a perspective thing because it helps me look at things differently in terms of like, I'm not a business owner and nor do I ever, like, I tell no customers, like I'm the business. I just say like, I'm the paint correction specialist. Sometimes I'll say, but look at it in that manner because how you do things and how you run things as an individual person, if you want to continue to grow your business, cannot be the same thing. If you hire 3 other people and you do things a certain way because it's just you as a solo detailer running your own business on your own time, those 2 things are not the same. And if you want A players on your team and if you want people to really, take the helm and just do what needs to be done in order to grow your business and to create a great customer experience and to give them the responsibility of driving a van, driving a truck, greeting the customer, accepting payment, you cannot run the business like you do when you're just being a solo detailer. You have to run like an actual company. a respectable company, a reputable company. And if you do want to grow your business, which I'm sure most of us do, and you want to grow from wherever you are to the next phase, check out the link below to my online training platform called Detailers Growth Academy. This is basically all the lessons, all the trainings that I have inside of one platform that goes over sales, marketing, operations, knowing your numbers. So if you're at $5,000 a month, or you're at 10, or you're at 20, everything I teach here is what we're implementing right now in our business, from SEO to optimizing your Google business profile to your pricing and knowing your numbers and just running your business from end to end. And I'm continually adding more and more content. Check the link down below and let's get back to the episode. Like, how many times do you hear, oh man, just no one wants to work these days and it's hard to find good work and no one wants to put in the effort. It's like, if you want A players, you need to have an A player environment to people to work in, to thrive in, to actually grow within the company. You think an A player is going to go and hang and work at a company that operates at a C- or a B+? No, because they're going to go work somewhere that runs like an actual company, right? Like, you can't have the same mindset of like, oh, well, sometimes I get there kind of early, sometimes I get there kind of late. I take a lunch break, I stay late. It's like, no, like an employee, whether it's an A+ or a B+, they want structure, right? They want to know, hey, this is like, and it doesn't mean that like, oh, hey, every day we have to start at 8, or hey, every day we're ending at 5. But it's having a structure in terms of how the business operates and why things change and how things do and this and this, that. It's not just saying like, oh, hey, every day, like, we're working at a yogurt shop. So, hey, every day we start at 8 and we close at 4, right? It's not in that specific manner. But so many times you hear people say, and not just detailers, like any business owner, like literally in any industry, I've heard it all across everywhere. I was like, oh man, but these people here and they complain so much and they do this and they do that. And it's like, bro, like, have you looked at how you run your business? Have you looked at your standard of operation when it comes to how you do things, how you schedule, how you manage the customers, and how you train people and how you continue to train them, right? Like, it's a completely different mindset. So whenever you're doing things in your business and you're operating and you're pricing or whatever, like, think about it as an employee. It's like, for instance, if you were an employee doing sales, like let's say you're going to hire a CSR, right? A customer service rep. How would you go about training someone, AKA yourself, to do sales if they've never sold detailing services before? Because again, if you want to continue to grow your business, you will have to delegate tasks and responsibilities, right? You have to hire a detailer to help you detail. Eventually, when you get to that point, you'll hire a CSR to handle the calls for you. So if you have your own ways of doing it, which again, I'm not saying it's wrong, but if you have your own ways of how you, you will have your own ways of how you price and how you upsell and how you schedule in the calendar and how you work the CRM, whether it's Jobber or your Able or Field or HouseCall Pro, it does not matter. You have your own way because you know how the schedule runs and you know how to like fit in and how to look at the criteria of, hey, you'll schedule on this day, this time, this slot, all this stuff, right? How would you train another employee doing that, right? Because you can't keep everything in your head as a business owner because you will always be the bottleneck in everything. If you are the one that has to do everything at all times, you will always be the bottleneck and the company will not grow anywhere as fast as it could if you hold on to all the information, right? That's why I say, like, think of yourself as an employee. Like, don't have this ego and this pride of like, oh, I'm the business owner and I'm the most important person and everybody look at me. Like, nobody cares about that, right? Especially when you grow the company, like, set up systems and operations starting now, even if you're a solo detailer, right? Again, depending on what you're doing and such, that's going to look different for everything. And it's not like it has to be this grand, like, look at this big old, system that I have that took me 100 hours to complete. But it's one of those things of like, if you know you're going to hire and you want to hire in the future, it's as simple as creating a one-page checklist of like, here's how we do an interior detail, right? Then the next week, you're like, hey, here's how we do an exterior detail. Nothing fancy, just literally a one-pager with bullet points and that's it, right? At least it's a start of something to have structure, to have actual systems and SOPs. If you're just winging everything and you're saying, yeah, hey man, like pull up today at 7 and tomorrow pull up at 8 and next day pull up at 9 and hey man, like that's not gonna work, right? If you want to have A+ players, if you want to be able to develop A+ players or take B+ to A+ players, you have to operate at that level. Right? Because if you're not operating at that level, one, they'll go work somewhere else and you'll just be stuck with the people that don't care. right? Because the B plus, the B minus people that stick around, well, they don't want to move because they don't care. Like, yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, boss man, like he comes in late or he doesn't really check on us. So, we're just moving slow and it's okay, miss those spots. And I don't really worry about that, right? Quality goes down because the standard is low, because you're not holding anyone accountable, because you're not even holding yourself accountable, because you're the business owner, right? Again, whereas if you were an employee, there would be like, you would have structure to everything. Say, hey, I'm an employee inside this company. These are the standards that the company is held to, and I have to, as an employee, meet those standards. Right. So it's not saying, oh, hey, me as, Johnny as the business owner, sets these standards. Like, no, like the company has standards and all of us are accountable to those standards. And we have to hold ourselves accountable to make sure the company's standards are held to the highest standard. Right. Because then if there are no standards, if there are no core values, if there are no things of this nature, well, everyone's just going to do whatever because there's no direction. Boss man, he doesn't really check on us. So, we come out here, we stop by a gas station, we take a little break. And, at 12 o'clock, we get in the truck for a little bit and cool down because it gets really hot. And then, we'll eat on lunch, but we'll stay clocked in and just say that we didn't take a lunch and all these things, right? Again, because if you have that same mindset of how you do things by yourself when you want to grow and get more people, you're just like, the biggest thing is going to impact is just your margin. It's going to, assuming you're operating like at a 20% profit margin, because you're by yourself and you like there's not much overhead or expenses. But once you start hiring, I mean, things are just going to immediately plummet if you don't have your pricing down correctly, if you don't have training down to show people how to be efficient, if you don't continually train and hold people accountable and holding the accountability to the company standards, and you train them on how to do customer service and the customer experience to make sure that everyone is still being handled, like all your customers are still being taken care of very well, because you as the business owner can do everything great because it's you. You have the most skin in the game. You have the most experience, probably. You have the most reps doing, like, handling with your customers in the cars and what you're doing. Like, you will be the best employee ever in terms of like what you need to do in getting it done, because you have the most skin in the game. It's not the same once you get someone else. If you hire one other person, you can still manage everything absolutely fine because they're with you in that truck or in the van the whole time, right? Like, they're an extension of you, right? Like, you guys are teammates. Like, hey, get to my house at 7:40. We'll leave by 8 o'clock. Get to the jobs at 8:30. We'll work there. Take lunch at 12. Start working again at 12:45. Finish that job. Go to the other one. What have you? And you guys are with each other the entire time. So it's very easy to manage and hold each other accountable, right? Once you hire someone else and you step away from that van, or you get another van and put someone else in there, or you're at a shop and the employee's taking out the mobile van, that's when you have no accountability. And you have to you have to have the systems, the culture, the training in place to make sure that person that's going out on their own is going to hold the company at the same standard that you do when you are out there. Because once that disconnect happens and they say, oh, boss man's no longer here, here's how I'm going to do things now, everything starts falling apart. Especially if you're busy or it's in the busy season, like, you feel that very, 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 very hard on your business and yourself, because now, you're not only just running your business, you're managing other like, because the issue becomes like, you spend more time managing other people and fixing their problems than growing your business if you don't have the right people in place and you're not focusing on growth, right? Like, you're focusing on just putting out fires versus actually growing your business. Right? Like, when you hire someone, assuming you're hiring A players and assuming you have a proper company with training and all these things, when you hire someone, your business should grow. You should delegate more responsibility. Even if it's just one other person and you guys are in a van, hey, when we get there, you're unloading the van, I'll go talk to the customer. If I'm still talking to the customer, get started on the detail. Hey, we're wrapping up, prep everything, put everything back in the van, make sure it's all cleaned out for our next job. Well, I'll go check out so whenever you hire someone, you're always delegating tasks, right? But as you continue to grow and you're going from, 5, 10, 15, 30, whatever, you will have to delegate more tasks. You literally cannot keep your hands on everything because you will always be the bottleneck. And again, going back to, if you want A+ players and you want, like, let's say you have someone that's just like just an absolute, A-S tier employee. They don't want to be slowed down. They don't want to be micromanaged. They don't want to say, oh man, I want to go do all these things, but boss man here is pulling a blade, or man, he doesn't give me good direction, or man, the schedule looks so funny. Like, I would do things completely different. If you want, like, if you find someone that's really good, like, you have to have a company, an environment, a culture that facilitates that growth, that doesn't hold them back, that allows them to say, hey, I want to do more. I know I can do more, whether it's, giving them more responsibility or delegating more things to them, or maybe it's like moving them into like a different role or what have you. Like when you find someone that has that ability to say, hey, like, I can really run things on my own, you have to be able to give them that. Like, you have to be able to facilitate that growth, because you don't want to lose that person. Like, when you find someone that is of A+ caliber, where you're looking at them and you're like, you can just start your own business. Like, that's how good you are. Like, you could definitely start your own business. But like, you can also have them grow inside your company and say, hey, like, you're really good at this. Like, there's more opportunity. If you want, I can give you these other things, and you can grow to this and learn how to do this, and continue to grow and move up the ladder in this company. When you have that kind of structure and that kind of vision, and you share it with them, and they understand what you're trying to do, then it's like, yes, like, I can really see myself grow with the company. But again, you're not sharing your goals, the vision. You have no training, no standard, no culture, no core values. You sometimes you do this, sometimes you do that. No one's staying with you. And again, is it really the workforce out there that doesn't want to work and they're so lazy? And man, I remember back in my day, I used to work 60 hours a week, unpaid intern. Like, it's like, just, it's gonna be on you to have the kind of company where you can attract A+ quality people. Because if you just don't care, hey, I need a body to come and help me, and yeah, whatever, that's good enough. I mean, it'll always be the bottleneck. You'll always slow down. You'll always move slow. You'll always spend more time training. You'll always spend more time going over what they're doing. Like, you like it. It one-to-one reflects what you do based on how you are as a person, right? Again, as simple as like showing up on time, right? If you don't show up on time, you cannot hold the standard to say everyone else has to show up on time. Well, boss man, 3 out of 5 days you're showing up late. What does that mean? Same thing with like, whether it's like taking lunch or like taking a long lunch, or let's say it's, maybe you the time you're stopping, like you say, we should be back at the shop by 5. And then you guys are always getting back at 6:30. And it's like, things are going to happen especially when you're mobile, whether it's weather or traffic or delays at the job location. But it's one of those, like, once in a while, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, we're supposed to get back by 5, but it's 5:15 or 5:30. Like that. I think that's pretty fair. But you say, hey, we're supposed to be back by 5, and it's like 6:30, and that's consistently. It's like, I'm planning my day around the work, and you're never holding yourself to what you say we're gonna, what time we're gonna get back. So then that delays me. So like my afternoon and what I want to do is not being delayed, because like I'm here and I'm working and I wanted to do good. But again, like I get things changed, but our schedule is just so off. Like I'm just here, what kind of wasting my time, because we're not being efficient out on the road. And again, this all stems from like you having that mentality of saying, oh, I'm the business owner. Like, look at me. I'm so cool. Like, I can do the things I want to do. Like, no, you have to think of yourself as, if you like, don't think of yourself like as a business owner. Think of yourself as a hired CEO. That's probably the better way to put it. Think of yourself as a hired CEO. If you were hired into your company, if you were hired into this company, if you're called Zebra Detailing, if you were hired into Zebra Detailing to grow their company to, whatever, $20,000 a month, that's the perspective you need to have. You don't need to work 60 hours a week. You don't need to be booking in low-paying jobs. You need to understand your numbers and what's profitable and what's not. You need to look at your labor and say, hey, do we really need 3 people on the team if we're barely making $12,000 a month? Do we need to have 3 vans? Do we need, that's into the perspective that you would look at things. Because again, as the business owner, you're a lot more lax. You're saying, oh, well, this is my thing, and yeah, I work this and work that, and this, that. Like, and again, like as a business owner, yeah, there'll be flexibility. Like you're like water, right? You're always moving and conforming and adjusting the things that come about. But you can still do that with more structure. And I'm assuming most people will want to grow their business. Like most people want to go beyond just themselves. So I would start that now. And you might be saying, well, I'm just a solo detailer. Like I'm just doing it by myself right now. And don't get me like, yeah, like if you're under $4,000 a month, yeah, like for sure. There's a time and place for everything. So it's not saying, okay, drop everything and start thinking like a CEO and start writing systems and processes. Probably not. But once you get to that point of saying, like, hey, I'm getting busier. Hey, I'd like to grow. Hey, I want to start earning more ads. Hey, we're doing more marketing. That's when the light bulb needs to go in your head and say, okay, I see growth in the future, whether it's in the next, 6 months, 12 months. I see growth in the future. So what do I need to do right now to help me take 5 steps forward in my business? What things am I doing right now that will need to be adjusted 6 months from now if I have a helper, right? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. That's what's going to actually help you propel your business forward. And again, you hire someone, you go through it, and maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes 2 years, whatever you're doing. And then you say, okay, I see growth in the future. I would like to hire someone to have 2 people in this van, and I get another van. What do I need to do right now so that in a year, once I get that other van and I hire someone else, they take over this position? So then you have to say, okay, well, I can't have just 2 technicians. I have to have 1 technician and 1 crew leader, right? And they have to learn how to drive, and they have to have a driver's license, and they actually have to understand how to talk with the customer and go over the detail and make sure it's all done. They have to make sure they can manage the other person, and then they have to make sure that they can do a quality control, call it the customer, walk them through the detail, answer any questions, accept payment, pack up, and bring the van back. Would that be the person that is with me? Do I give, does he have the potential to become a crew leader? If not, okay, well then I need to go find someone else. So you're already asking and thinking yourself you're already asking things much differently that will prep you up for the growth that will happen, whatever timeline, 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, what have you. That's the way you want to think. That is what's going to put you up in a better position to grow your business. So I'll end it right here. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.